Today on Carolina Week, head coach Mack Brown breaks his silence after 3 UNC football players were charged in a car crash that killed a UNC student.
Nothing ever happens good after midnight.
Plus,
I probably wouldn't have found my true passion without TikTok.
TikTok, the clock might be running out for the social media platform in the US, what this means for students here on campus. And March Madness starts tomorrow while the Tar Heels lick their wounds following a championship loss to the Wolfpack.
The UNC Hussman School of Journalism and Media, connecting Carolina's campus and community. This is Carolina Week.
Good morning and welcome back from spring break. There is a lot to get to today, including our unfortunate loss to NC State on Saturday. I'm Lauren Lovett.
And I'm McLaren Hopper. We start with this. UNC head coach football Mack Brown speaking out after 3 UNC football players were charged in the crash that killed 20-year-old Molly Rotunda. Mayor Fomet says that this week head coach Mack Brown said he's waiting to see what comes from the court cases before potentially taking action. Now let's step back and take a look at how we got here. Remember, 3 football players are charged in connection to the deadly car crash that left UNC student Molly Rotunda dead in January. They were charged with misdemeanors, including underage drinking on the night of the crash. Rice was alleged to be driving behind the car that crashed. As you see, he was just in court earlier this month. He pled not guilty. Mayor Fomet spoke with the coach the first time on the deadly crash and his players' alleged involvement. Listen to what he has to say.
30 years as a head coach, I learned that I'm not supposed to be the investigator, because then it can be tampering. And legal issues are very serious. So I never get into details with the kids. I get into nothing ever happens good after midnight.
Coach Brown fears this case is being tried in the media and does not want any part of that, but waiting to see what the investigation will reveal. Here's now what we know. 10 people are charged in connection, we believe, will be following these court cases. For Rice, he is due back in court in April. Back to you.
In some lighter news, we are just 24 hours away from UNC's first game in the NCAA tournament. This comes after a disappointing loss to NC State on Saturday in the ACC championship game. Sports Extra anchor Landon Elliott joins us now. Landon, what happened?
Well, Lauren, it wasn't good. It wasn't pretty in any way, shape, or form. Defensively, we weren't on our A game. Offensively, it was okay, but it wasn't good enough. But we'll be talking more about that upcoming in sports, Lauren.
Like you said, Landon, a disappointing loss, and we talked to some Tar Heels about how they felt about that and the upcoming NCAA tournament.
Really, I was like, ain't no way. And then, like I said, I laughed it off, man, because what can you do when you're number 1?
I'm still not over it. I'm a forgiving person, but I'm not quite there yet with forgiving them for their performance, or lack thereof, actually, I should say.
I saw this post earlier, and it was like, the times that we didn't win the ACC championships, we won the national championship. So, I mean, there's belief there. I mean, there's hope there. So.
But Saturday wasn't the end of the road for the Tar Heels. Tomorrow starts the NCAA tournament. Landon, what do our boys have to do?
Well, we got to get contributions from everyone, Lauren. We can't just have R.J. Davis constantly being that offensive guy. We need guys like Cormac Ryan and Harrison Ingram to constantly step up. And we also need some defensive play on the wing. We need some defensive play on the post as well. But we'll be talking a little bit more about that when we get to sports.
Okay, well, looking forward to it. Thanks, Landon.
In other sports-related news, online sports betting is live in North Carolina, and just in time for March Madness. Online sports betting went live in the state on March 11th, which allowed sportsbooks like ESPN Bet, FanDuel, and DraftKings to launch. Governor Cooper signed the bill legalizing sports betting into law last year. According to the law, a person must be at least 21 years old to participate in betting on college and professional sports in the state. The Department of Health and Public Services is giving part of the proceeds to 13 public universities, each receiving $30,000. UNC Chapel Hill is not one of the recipients.
Chapel Hill police say there are increasing patrols in the Meadowmont area. In a release, CHPD says 2 women have reported being inappropriately touched on the Meadowmont Trail. The first incident was reported last Wednesday, and the second incident was reported on Monday. Police say the suspect in each incident was described as a man wearing sweatpants and a hoodie. Police are asking anyone with information to contact them.
Local restaurant Purple Bowl is set to move in new location in July, but co-owner Paul Gillen says the town has not made it easy on them as they struggle to get permits and inspections.
That you'll come behind and the person will be able to order there.
After a long battle with the town, Purple Bowl has decided to move this summer to 504 West Franklin Street.
Well, they definitely got dealt kind of a hard hand in terms of, the building getting bought out, and then maybe they were going to stay, maybe they weren't.
CEO Paula Gillen says that the choice was inspired by the Chapel Hill community.
They kind of helped us make the decision that we should really find a new space and move to a new space and keep this community energy.
Once Purple Bowl found a new home, they say they were exposed to a different set of problems.
That time is money. We can't be losing that time.
Gillen says permit and inspection processes from the town have slowed down the development of the new restaurant.
But it was us kind of pounding and pounding and pounding, and I don't want people to have to do that.
She also said she has paid more than she anticipated.
Because if you are thinking you're going to spend $1,000 for your permit, and then it's $5,000 or $6,000 and months and months and months of delays, that is money.
The town of Chapel Hill says they want businesses to succeed, and they offer many forms of communication to avoid these delays.
We need to change the dialogue and flip the switch on this and get our elected officials to change the process.
Gillen plans for the larger building to include a grass patio, more parking spaces, and a new menu item this summer. In Chapel Hill, I'm McLaren Hopper, Carolina Week. And I hope Purple Bowl is able to figure that quickly because I love an acai bowl, especially in warmer weather.
Looks like yakking may be put on pause at UNC. Our Isha Patanaik tells us about the university's plans to ban Yik Yak.
Hackers or Yik Yak users may have to find a new way to get updates. UNC System President Peter Hans wants to block the popular social media platform and similar apps across the university system. Hans says the anonymous location-based public forum perpetuates bullying and a reckless disregard for student well-being. Misinformation on Yik Yak was magnified last semester during a deadly school shooting on campus. Experts told Carolina Week that disinformation spreading during chaotic and traumatic events can make matters worse.
There have been thousands of people who have said, I heard from my friend, my uncle is a police officer, my brother told me this, I can hear shots. And all of that is just unverified information that is spread like wildfire that really just amps up the tension for everybody.
But some students don't want to see Yik Yak go. Webb Cummings, freshman and an avid Yik Yak user, says there's a bigger issue at hand.
It has some of the bad things about a lot of social media, but if we're picking and choosing to ban certain things of social media, you would have to ban all social media.
The platform was originally popular in the mid-2010s but was shut down in 2017 before re-emerging in 2021. It's used to share inside jokes for students on campus and information about situations nearby. Even senior Kush Patel says while he doesn't use the app, he also doesn't believe it should be banned.
It's a good way of information being conveyed across campus. It's a very fast method, so I don't think it's a good method, a good idea.
To these students, it's not just an app, but a platform that gives them a voice. From Chapel Hill, I'm Isha Patanaik with Carolina Week.
The plans involve blocking the apps from campus IT networks so students would still be able to access them outside of the campus Wi-Fi. Election season is here, and Northeastern North Carolina Democrat is challenging election results. Coming up, what he says happened and how local election officials are responding.
And
to just come take their platform away from them after they done did all this, like I would feel some type of way.
how local influencers are reacting to the push to ban TikTok. Megan?
for about 5 years, I think.
What about other people? What do they think about vaping?
Definitely on the same page as me. I mean, everybody does it.
Yeah, it's giving just kind of sleazy, sketchy, creepy. I don't want to do it.
I think he's just trying to be cool. Like, he's forcing it too much. Like, it just looks sad at that rate.
He seems a little insecure. He seems like he's fronting a little bit, so that's just my perspective.
I see the vape, and personally, I'm just like, as someone who's in healthcare studying nursing, I'm like, oh, that's just really unhealthy for you and can really cause permanent damage to your lungs.
You're looking live outside of our studio here on campus. A beautiful day so far.
More primaries this week in Arizona, Florida, Illinois, Kansas, and Ohio, states that were tight competitions in the 2020 presidential election. With little opposition in the upcoming primaries, President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump are looking ahead to the general election, where they will need to dig deep on key issues and lock in support with target voter groups like young voters, black voters, and Latinx voters. Both candidates are focusing on immigration, especially in battleground state Arizona. The Biden campaign hopes to connect with Latinx voters, which make up a large portion of voters in the state. Other key issues to the race are the economy, abortion rights, and the Israel-Hamas war. Back in North Carolina, one state House representative is calling for a recount in his election. This comes after he claimed there were irregularities in his election that cast doubt on the results. CW's Walter Ranke has more.
That's right. Incumbent Democrat Representative Michael Ray has requested a recount in all 3 counties that make up the 27th House District. He currently trails Rodney Pierce, a Halifax County school teacher, by just 35 votes. Now, before he requested a recount, the 20-year veteran filed protest with the boards of elections in Halifax, Warren, and Northampton counties. He alleged that several voters got the wrong ballot, some ballots were erroneously not counted, and that a Democratic poll observer in Halifax County was illegally handing out sample ballots, telling voters to vote for Pierce. Pierce has called the protest, quote, false election claims. The boards of elections in all 3 counties have since voted to dismiss Ray's protest. In a statement, the Ray campaign said that they were disappointed that the protests were dismissed, and their focus has, quote, been to ensure that every vote is counted. I talked to Stephen Green, a political science professor at NC State, and he told me that while they might be called protests, this case is completely different from other election challenges.
I don't feel like in the end Ray is questioning the legitimacy of our election systems. I think he's saying here are specific mistakes made, maybe just, human error, but that might be enough to be worth 35 votes to me.
Ray can appeal the decisions on the protest to the State Board of Elections, but has not said whether he will. The recounts will be conducted through March 25th, extending the election by at least another week. There will be no Republican opposition in the fall. For more details on Ray's protest and why they were dismissed, visit our website.
Very interesting story, Walter. Thanks.
Progressive challenger Sophie Schittling will be a Democratic nominee for North Carolina State Senate in District 22 after defeating 3-term state senator Mike Woodward in the Democratic primary. Schittling ran on a platform centered on care, advocating for high-quality public education, maternal health equity, and investment to affordable housing, among other issues. Ahead of the general election, Schittling looks to fundraise for the community and Democratic candidates across the state, increase voter turnout in Durham, connect with North Carolina state legislators, and inform the community on what type of electoral office she wants to be.
I hope people know. I hope people know that I'm accessible, that I'm collaborative, that I'm eager to work with them and hear from them, and that I believe that directly impacted communities are going to create the best policy themselves. And I know that I don't come in with all of the ideas. My job is to be a vessel for the community-based solutions that already exist right here in Durham.
Schittling will run against Libertarian candidate Ray Ubinger in November's election. We've reached out to Ubinger. We're waiting to hear a response from the race.
Newsrooms aren't the only place for election coverage. Saturday Night Live turns it into comedy. Carolina Week's Samantha Hoffman sits down with writer Brian Tucker to learn more about the late night's approach to the election season.
With every big election event comes a Saturday Night Live sketch.
To have hobbies, Biden has falling down. I have
my many trials.
And Brian Tucker is on the clock to write it.
Is there an angle we can take? Is there something fun about it?
Tucker has worked at SNL since 2005. Though he's now a 16-time Emmy nominee, his early days were with UNC Student Television and his selected hilarity comedy troupe.
I did my first stand-up set at Morrison Dormitory in the basement here. That gave me the bug to keep doing it.
The only time you ever see that is in, say, a sorority formal.
During the election season, higher viewership of SNL makes Tucker keep a special eye on politics.
This year, we had the Republican response by Katie Britt, and once we saw that, we were like, oh my gosh, this is a character.
Tucker says his proudest sketches, like the critically acclaimed Black Jeopardy, bring laughter across the political spectrum.
That sketch was praised by both Essence Magazine and the Rush Limbaugh Show, and to bring those two groups together to like the same thing is very hard.
Lives that matter.
In Chapel Hill, I'm Samantha Hoffman, sending back to Carolina Week Live.
Thank you, Samantha. You can see the full interview with Tucker on our website. He's a very funny guy, as expected by Tar Heel.
As the country waits to see whether the Senate will pass a bill that could block the app nationwide due to security concerns, influencers are wondering what this will mean for the brands and careers they have used the apps to build. Reporter Sarah Thompson talks to an influencer at UNC to see how they say the ban could impact their livelihood.
UNC student Ashton Hutchinson says TikTok means more to him than an app to scroll and kill time.
Because that's how I get most of my revenue, make money on there. I mean, it's not all about the money, but some people like that. In life, you need money.
But he worries how long he may be able to do that. The House passed a 13-page bill last week to ban TikTok in the U.S. unless TikTok cuts ties with its parent company, ByteDance. Lawmakers believe that ByteDance is giving its users' data to the Chinese government.
ByteDance ownership of TikTok is a threat to the security of the United States.
If ByteDance does not sell their shares of TikTok by September 30th and the bill moves forward, the app will be banned in the U.S. TikTok recruited creators on the app to go to Washington to influence lawmakers not to pass the bill. Although Hutchinson didn't go himself, he understands the passion that drove people to fight for the platform.
They put in a lot of work, and then for you to just come take their platform away from them after they done did all this, like I would feel some type of way,
Many creators that went to Washington told lawmakers how the app has changed their lives and helped them promote themselves and their businesses.
You will be destroying small businesses like us. This is our livelihood.
Hutchinson agrees.
I probably wouldn't have found my true passion without TikTok.
In Chapel Hill, I'm Sarah Thompson, Carolina Week.
Former President Donald Trump is against the bill, as President Trump issued an executive order in 2020 to regulate TikTok like the current bill is attempting to do. In an interview with CNBC last week, Trump says his decision to reverse his position is because he does not want to target young voters on the app or strengthen the power of other social media companies.
Now turning to another big development from Washington this week, Congress is poised to hopefully pass a budget and avoid a partial government shutdown. Christian Phillips joins us now with more insight.
Well, thank you, Lauren. It certainly has been a busy week on the Hill, with congressional and White House negotiators working furiously to come to a budget agreement before parts of the government are due to shut down at midnight on Friday. Crucial steps are being taken this week to avert the government shutdown if no spending package is passed before Friday night. Now, that being said, a deal was announced by congressional leaders and the White House just yesterday on a package of spending bills that will fund the government through the rest of 2024. The main crux of the debate, as mentioned by the White House, is funding for the Department of Homeland Security. It is, after all, the DHS that is in charge of handling border security and the migrant crisis, a hot-button issue in the run-up to this year's elections. And just last month, the House of Representatives did vote to impeach DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. We'll be sure to keep an eye on this here at Carolina Week as this story progresses. Lorna McLaren, back to you.
This is some good news.
Thanks, Christian.
This year's North Carolina was ranked the 5th state with the most improved electric vehicle infrastructure by research site iSeeCars.com. The report says North Carolina grew by 28% this year, making one charger available for every 2,500 residents. Local Chapel Hill says they are committed to lowering greenhouse gas emissions by supporting electric vehicle use. Right now, there are 5 public charging stations in Chapel Hill, but there are plans to develop more this year.
Everything from battery manufacturing to using the vehicle to the end. And so with those two things in mind, we know that in the near term, a focus on electric vehicles is a really important strategy for reducing emissions in Chapel Hill.
Chapel Hill anticipates that they will double the amount of EV chargers to 40 this year to reach their goal of lowering emissions.
Scientists are sounding the alarm as ocean surface temperatures continue to rise. Scientists say that those temperatures have broken records every day for more than a year. Scientists say these temperatures can have negative effects on marine life and extreme weather. Some believe we're nearing a 4th mass coral bleaching event. Scientists say this could lead to more violent hurricanes, heat waves, or increasing precipitation. I don't know about heat waves, but it does feel really nice outside today.
It really does. Definitely feels like the second day of spring. Let's turn now to Carolina Week meteorologist Megan Giller to see how nice and warm this weather is going to last.
Thanks, guys, for your first official day of spring. Spring did start last night at 11:06 p.m., but today is the first full day. It's going to be quite nice outside. We're seeing 60 at noon, warming up to 65 by 3 p.m., and really warming up to that 67 by 6 p.m. For your rain throughout this week, though, we're going to be seeing some sun on Wednesday and Thursday, so enjoy that while you can, because on Friday afternoon into the night, we're going to start to see some rain pop up here in North Carolina. That rain should come out of the Gulf, hit us on Friday, and disappear within the afternoon on Saturday. As we move into Sunday, though, it'll start to get a little more sunny and nice outside again. But for Wednesday, we're seeing 70s and really sunny outside. It's going to cool off to about 62 by Thursday, and then that temperature is really going to drop on Friday with 55, bringing that rain in as we move into Friday and Saturday. But as you head into Sunday, it's going to be nice and 57 and sunny to finish out your weekend.
Sports Extra anchor Landon Elliott is back with us now. We're feeling the heat outside, but can we see the heat on the court?
Yeah, McLaren, we're going to feel the heat tomorrow, especially from R.J. Davis from outside, Cormac Ryan, Harrison Ingram. All those guys are going to look to get going, and I think it's going to be a hot one for the Heels on offense tomorrow.
Well, that's great news.
How do you know when you've made the right decision? It's the feeling you get in your gut, the one that tells you what's right or wrong. It's the one that says, sure, I can have a drink, or the feeling that says, okay, I've been drinking, now what? It's the voice inside you that says, I'm buzzed, better leave the car when it's time to go. Plan ahead, catch a sober ride. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Today, we face an unprecedented crisis. Tens of millions of refugees have been forced from their homes. But you can make a difference. Turn disruption and despair to hope and opportunity. Even small amounts make a big difference. Provide shelter, support, or jobs in your community. The more we understand, the greater sense of belonging we create. Act now. Visit supportcrisisrelief.org.
It's always a great day to be a Tar Heel, well, except for Saturday. Thanks for staying with us. I'm Landon Elliott, and as we talked about earlier, Carolina lost to NC State this weekend at the ACC Championship game in Washington, D.C. But the team looks forward to its first March Madness game tomorrow. Despite its loss to State in the conference title game, UNC is the #1 seed in the West Division as the team heads into March Madness. The Heels need to recover quickly after their devastating loss as they gear up to compete against Wagner tomorrow. If UNC wants to make a run, they're going to have to look to 70-year-old veteran Cormac Ryan to make a difference. Looking back at every UNC game this season, when Cormac Ryan gets hot, this team succeeds. They need a wing player to contribute to the scoring totals, and it can't just be all R.J. Davis on offense. Transition defense also needs to be emphasized, as well as physical play in the post. If they want to get far in the tournament, look for Hubert Davis to focus on these points in his game plan. The Heels are set to play tomorrow at 2:45 p.m. in Charlotte. And the UNC women's basketball team is entering the NCAA tournament for the 4th year in a row. The 8-seed Lady Heels take on 9th seed Michigan State in the first round of the postseason in Columbia, South Carolina. Lexi Donarski has led the Heels to most of their victories. Her three-point shooting ability is going to be a make or break for the Heels. Donarski can't win games alone. Deja Kelly has the ability to be a ball-dominant player and take over a game. She needs to focus on her shot and consistency. The combination of both shot making and the Heels' strong defense is what they need for a victory against the Spartans on Friday at 11 a.m. And after a weekend series loss against Miami, the Diamond Heels took to home field last night against the UNC Wilmington Seahawks. Dingers were no issues for the Heels, especially for designated hitter Luke Stevenson, who had 3 hits. On defense, freshman Allen Johnson limited UNCW to 2 hits before stepping off the mound at the top of the 5th. The Seahawks changed pitchers 7 times, hoping to throw off UNC's momentum. However, the Heels' pitching and defense stayed strong, and they shut out the Seahawks 11-0.
I thought we played a complete game. I don't think we made an error today, which is good. We got distribution throughout the lineup, and anytime you beat a team like UNC Wilmington midweek, it's a great win for us.
And tune in tonight to our new Sports Extra segment at 6:30 for our breakdown of the March Madness bracket. And as always, stay tuned to Fridays for a preview of another exciting weekend in Carolina athletics.
Well, I don't know about you, but I think I might be skipping class to watch the tournament.
I don't know about skipping class. I'm definitely going to try to work on that bracket, though. It's going to be an interesting season. I'm looking forward to it.
Still to come.
In the last 4 years, I think we fed over 50,000 people.
How 2 friends have kept a charity started during COVID going for nearly 4 years. Okay, nice job.
I'm an ex-drug dealer, and I'll be your sub today. Can you see anything different as a pill? No.
No.
You don't know?
Fentanyl is being mixed into everything now. There's only one thing that will save somebody's life. That is naloxone nasal spray.
Fentanyl, it's cheap, it's potent, and it's profitable.
Why would drug dealers put a lethal dose of fentanyl in drugs if they know it's so harmful?
Really just all about the money.
I just didn't realize that one pill could change your whole life.
More kids should know.
Let's take another look at this beautiful day outside. You're looking right outside the Curtis Media Center here on UNC's campus. More tails, more problems? A genetic parasite is the reason humans don't have tails like their fellow primates. According to geneticists, around 2.5 million years ago, a small stretch of repetitive DNA known as ALU element showed up in a gene that is crucial to having tails. This genetic tweak could also provide information on spinal cord defects in some babies.
A 10-year-old dog has a new home after spending 2 years in the animal shelter. This is Velcro. He's a 10-year-old Carolina dog mix, and he has some special needs. Velcro is partially blind, deaf, and has mobility issues. He spent more than 700 days in Texas Animal Shelter. His new owner says she felt Velcro was perfect for her and the first time she met him.
It's been more than 4 years since the start of COVID. One pandemic-era charity continues to thrive. Ed Moore and Deacon James Myers became friends as they teamed up during COVID to fight hunger in their community. The Virginia natives had fed more than 50,000 people since starting their charity. They say that since rent is soaring and inflation is rising, they like bringing a sense of comfort and hope to others. For Moore and Myers, they say they're just trying to do their part.
Pandemic is over, but it's in my heart. I love feeding people, giving back, and I just love what I do.
This is what America is supposed to be. Everybody helping each other.
That is very inspiring. It's so amazing to see how something that could be so bad for the world can be such a big impact on the community.
Absolutely. It's so inspirational to see how community members come together in this time of need to help each other out.
Well, thanks so much for joining us for this edition of Carolina Week.
We'll see you next week. Take care.